What motivates a Premier League club to risk more than £80 million on a single player, particularly one who has already rejected them on two separate occasions? Newcastle United now stands on the verge of smashing their own transfer record to bring the French striker Hugo Ekitike to Tyneside, and the entire footballing world is watching with anticipation. Beneath the jaw-dropping headlines and unprecedented sums lies a high-stakes gamble, one that could shape Newcastle United's fortunes for years or even decades to come. Let's take a step back to truly grasp how Newcastle arrived at this pivotal moment. For generations, Newcastle United has epitomized the passion and resilience of English football. St. James Park, their iconic home, has witnessed both soaring highs and heartbreaking lows. Testament to a fan base known for unwavering support, even through years of mediocrity and missed opportunities. The club's history is rich, filled with legendary names like Alan Shearer and Kevin Keegan, but also marked by seasons of frustration. For many supporters, the dream of returning to English football's summit has endured through thick and thin. The winds of change began to blow when ambitious new ownership took the reins in the early 2020s. Backed by significant financial resources and a clear vision, Newcastle's hierarchy made it clear that their era would not be defined by mid-table finishes or relegation scraps. Instead, they set their sights on breaking into the exclusive circle of Europe's elite clubs. This transformation was not merely rhetoric, but rapidly became reality through smart recruitment and bold investments. The first seismic statement came in August of 2022. Newcastle shattered their transfer record by signing Swedish striker Alexander Isak from Real Sociedad, paying a fee that surpassed £63 million. This was not just a transfer, it was a declaration of intent. Isak's arrival electrified the fan base and signaled that Newcastle would no longer settle for mediocrity. The ripple effect was immediate. The club's wage bill soared by an astonishing 35% in the following year, reflecting both their new ambitions and the escalating financial arms race at the heart of the Premier League. But ambition comes at a cost. As Newcastle's spending increased, so too did the pressure to perform, not just on the pitch, but also in the boardroom. Financial fair play regulations, designed to ensure clubs do not spend beyond their means, loom over every major transaction. As Lee Ryder of Chronicle Live notes, Newcastle's ownership are ambitious, but they are also mindful of the need to operate sustainably and avoid breaching financial fair play rules. This balancing act between chasing sporting glory and maintaining fiscal discipline has forced Newcastle to become increasingly strategic. The club's leadership recognizes that qualifying for the Champions League is not just a sporting achievement, but a financial imperative. The monetary rewards for competing among Europe's elite are transformative, with Champions League participation injecting tens of millions into a club's coffers. Conversely, falling short can leave ambitious plans in tatters and force difficult decisions about the future. Enter Hugo Ekitike. The 23-year-old French striker first burst onto the scene at Stade de Reims, where his combination of blistering pace, technical skill, and clinical finishing made him one of the most coveted young forwards in Europe. Newcastle's interest in Ekitike began long before his headline-grabbing move to Paris Saint-Germain in 2022. The Magpies came close to signing him twice, only to see him opt for other destinations. Undeterred, Newcastle scouts continued to monitor his progress closely, tracking his journey from Paris to Eintracht Frankfurt, where he truly came of age. Ekitike's rise has been nothing short of remarkable. In the 2024 to 2025 campaign, he scored an impressive tally of 22 goals and provided 12 assists for Eintracht Frankfurt across all competitions. These are not just impressive numbers, they are evidence of a player capable of impacting games at the highest level. It is this output that has attracted not only Newcastle, but also other Premier League giants. Liverpool and Chelsea have both registered concrete interest, while Arsenal, longtime admirers, appear to be pursuing Viktor Gyökeres instead. To appreciate the magnitude of this transfer saga, consider that Eintracht Frankfurt's asking price is rumored to be as high as €100 million. However, Newcastle's negotiating team believes they could secure Ekitike for around £78 million, thanks to performance-based incentives and careful structuring. Even at this reduced figure, the deal would eclipse the club's previous transfer record set by the Isak move, underscoring Newcastle's determination to join the ranks of English football's dominant forces. Yet this is far from a straightforward acquisition. Premier League financial regulations demand that clubs demonstrate sustainability and avoid reckless overspending. Every transfer is scrutinized by both league officials and rival clubs, making financial prudence as important as footballing ambition. The situation is complicated further by the rising intermediary fees payments to agents and third parties, which have surged by 20% in the past year. This means that every negotiation involves not only player salaries and transfer fees, but also a complex web of additional payments that can add millions to the total cost. Despite Ekitike's clear talent, questions remain about his readiness for the Premier League's unique demands. Last season, his non-penalty expected goals per 90 minutes stood at 0.45. A respectable figure, though not yet on par with Europe's elite strikers. His shot accuracy, measured at 48%, and dribbling success rate of 52%, highlight both his potential and the areas where improvement is needed. Jamie Carragher of Sky Sports sums it up. Ekitike possesses raw talent, but his consistency and decision-making need refinement before he can be considered a top-tier striker. Let's put these numbers into context. Erling Haaland, for instance, regularly posts non-penalty expected goals per 90 minutes above 0.7, while Mohamed Salah's shot accuracy has often exceeded 55%. Ekitike's metrics are promising, but they also reveal the work that lies ahead if he is to reach the very top. There's also a significant tactical dimension. Newcastle is not looking to replace Alexander Isak, their current record signing, but rather to pair Ekitike with him up front. This would represent a major shift from manager Eddie Howe's favored 4-3-3 formation, potentially requiring a new system. Perhaps a two-striker setup reminiscent of the days when Alan Shearer and Craig Bellamy terrorized Premier League defenses. Back then, Newcastle's strike partnerships were the stuff of legend, producing both goals and memories that still resonate with fans today. Of course, such a tactical switch carries risks. Team chemistry is delicate, and the arrival of a marquee signing always threatens to disrupt established hierarchies. With Callum Wilson's recent departure, the club's forward line is in flux. The expectation on Ekitike to deliver immediately would be immense, and any teething issues could quickly become the subject of media scrutiny. The financial implications are equally significant. Newcastle's wage bill has already ballooned by 35% in the last 12 months. A staggering increase that underscores the cost of chasing success. Adding Ekitike's salary would push that figure even higher, while intermediary fees, now up by 20%, add further pressure. David Kahn of The Guardian warns, Premier League clubs are increasingly leveraging debt to finance transfers, creating a high-stakes financial environment. Newcastle's willingness to invest so heavily is a calculated risk, but it must be managed carefully to avoid long-term instability. The specter of a bidding war looms large. Liverpool's interest in Ekitike is real and growing. Transfer insider Fabrizio Romano has confirmed Liverpool's search for a striker to replace Darwin Núñez, and Ekitike is high on their list. Should Liverpool's involvement intensify, the price tag could soar even higher, potentially pushing Newcastle to their financial limits. Such scenarios are not uncommon in modern football. Just recall the high-profile tug-of-war over Virgil van Dijk, or the last-minute hijackings that have defined recent transfer windows. Yet nothing in football is certain until the deal is done. Ekitike could still choose to remain at Frankfurt, where he has blossomed into a key figure. Frankfurt, a club known for developing and selling attacking talent, may entice him with the promise of a leading role and an improved contract. Alternatively, a late entry from another European heavyweight could upend negotiations, as has happened with players like Frankie de Jong and Jadon Sancho in recent years. Every scenario remains on the table until the ink dries. For fans of global football and students of sports economics, Newcastle's pursuit of Ekitike serves as a textbook example of risk and reward. Clubs everywhere are tempted to spend big on potential, but as the Newcastle saga demonstrates, every major transfer is fraught with both promise and peril. Let's dive deeper into the potential futures that could await Newcastle United if the Ekitike deal is completed. In the best-case scenario, Ekitike adapts rapidly to the Premier League's intensity, forming a formidable partnership with Isak. With both strikers in top form, Newcastle could field one of the most potent attacking duos in English football. Imagine a season where Ekitike's 22 goals and 12 assists are complemented by Isak's own impressive tally, propelling Newcastle into the Premier League's top four and deep into the Champions League knockout rounds. This is the dream that keeps supporters buzzing and rival managers awake at night. Such sporting success would have profound ripple effects. Champions League qualification is not merely prestigious. It is lucrative. The Premier League's average revenue jumped by 12% last year, and participation in Europe's premier competition could add tens of millions to Newcastle's bottom line. Commercial appeals would skyrocket, drawing new sponsorship deals and elevating the city of Newcastle upon Tyne onto the global stage. Local businesses would thrive, merchandise sales would soar, and the club's profile would reach new heights. For a city that lives and breathes football, such success would be transformative in every sense. But the risks are just as stark. If Ekitike struggles to adjust to English football's physicality or fails to build chemistry with Isak, Newcastle could find themselves saddled with a costly underperformer. The club's wage bill, already stretched by 35% growth, could hinder future flexibility. Financial fair play regulations are unforgiving, and failing to comply can result in fines, transfer bans, or even points deductions. In such a scenario, Newcastle might be forced to offload key players or shelve ambitious transfer plans, an outcome that could set back their project by years. Jamie Carragher's insight remains relevant. Ekitike possesses raw talent, but his consistency and decision-making need refinement before he can be considered a top-tier striker. Should Ekitike falter, Newcastle's gamble would become a cautionary tale, a reminder that money alone does not guarantee success. History offers plenty of lessons. Take the example of Fernando Torres. His blockbuster move from Liverpool to Chelsea in 2011 remains one of the most discussed transfers in Premier League history. Despite a record fee, Torres struggled to recapture his best form, becoming a symbol of unfulfilled promise and placing a heavy burden on Chelsea's wage structure. By contrast, Didier Drogba, who initially faced criticism after joining Chelsea, eventually became a club legend, proof that patience and the right environment can make all the difference. Newcastle must also navigate the increasingly complex world of football finance. Structured deals, where transfer fees are paid in installments, with additional bonuses linked to performance, are now the norm. Such arrangements help clubs manage risk, but also add layers of complexity to already intricate negotiations. Raphael Honigstein of The Athletic observes, "Frankfurt are shrewd negotiators and will not let Ekitike go for anything less than their valuation, regardless of their financial situation." Adding to the intricacy is the solidarity payment system. Few fans realize that Ekitike's first club, Stade de Reims, is entitled to a percentage of any future transfer fee as a reward for their role in developing the player. This means that every major move Ekitike makes sends financial ripples across the European football ecosystem, highlighting how interconnected the modern game has become. So what can football fans, club executives, and aspiring entrepreneurs learn from this unfolding drama? First, that ambition must always be tempered by realism. Even with billionaire backers, there are no guarantees in football. Clubs must constantly balance their desire for immediate success with the need for sustainable growth and prudent management. Second, data-driven decision-making is essential. While headline numbers like goals and assists capture attention, deeper metrics, such as non-penalty expected goals, shot accuracy, and dribbling success, offer a more nuanced view of a player's potential. For instance, Ekitike's non-penalty expected goals per 90 minutes was 0.45, while his dribbling success rate was 52% last season. These figures show promise, but also highlight that no player is the finished article. Third, football is fundamentally a team sport, both on and off the field. Newcastle's willingness to back Eddie Howe with marquee signings is a testament to their belief in his vision, but it also places immense responsibility on his shoulders. Integrating Ekitike, managing egos, and balancing the demands of domestic and European competition will test Howe's managerial skills to the limit. Looking ahead, several scenarios could play out. First, Newcastle might negotiate a structured agreement with Frankfurt, combining an upfront payment with performance-based add-ons. This would allow both sides to share the risk and potentially unlock greater value over time. Second, Liverpool's interest could escalate, sparking a bidding war that drives the price beyond Newcastle's comfort zone. If Newcastle chooses to walk away, it would send a message about their commitment to financial discipline, even if it means missing out on a top target. If the business side of football fascinates you, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more in-depth explorations of the intersection between economics and sport. The next chapter in Newcastle United's extraordinary rise is about to unfold, and you will not want to miss it. Whether you are managing a fantasy squad, investing in the stock market, or simply tracking your favorite club from afar, remember, every headline hides a story of risk, reward, and the relentless pursuit of glory. Newcastle's gamble on Hugo Ekitike could define not only their future, but also the evolving